Hi, I'm Jim. I purchased a Carvana vehicle about a year ago. So I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and make a video about how I feel a year later. Quite often when we decide to buy something or do something a certain way, when it's happening and right around that time, everything seems super. But how about later on? How do you feel? So my first question is, a year ago, the Carvana trade seemed great. Yes, it did. How do you feel about it now? Well, after a year, I feel the same way. It was a great trade. I'll go into more detail in the video, but I still feel the same way after a year. Any big surprises about the condition of the vehicle? No. When the Carvana vehicle was delivered, and there you see the actual delivery of my vehicle. It was a hybrid electric plug-in type vehicle, and the condition was just really just like a new car. If you didn't know better, I think you'd look at it and say, hey, this is a new car. It was actually 2 years. It's a 2015, and I bought it in 2017. Uh, as I think most of you probably know, Carvana gives you, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, something in that ballpark to just drive it around. Take it where you want to. You take it around without the, I don't know if I'd actually call her a salesperson. I guess really that's what the person might be, a little bit of that. But the Carvana representative, let's say, is not with you. So you can take it to the interstate highways. You can take it to wherever you want to. You can even take it to a car wash if you want to see if it leaks. But the condition was great. Um, Everything was fine about that. Was there any after purchase hassle? No, none. Not at the time of purchase. Um, when they were picking up the trade in, no hassle there. Afterwards, um, everything just went fine. Did an owner's manual come with your vehicle? What about keys? I was delighted to find there was an owner's manual. At first, I thought there was a little brochure, there was a little information packet that did not have that much information. The information there was good. This was maybe something, oh, if I can remember correctly, maybe it was something like 10, 20 pages about the car. And I thought, okay, but this isn't the same as having an owner's manual. Uh, but I hadn't looked in the vehicle enough. A little later, I found a complete comprehensive owner's manual. What about keys? It's delightful. I'd always heard and read that Carvana will try to get you two sets of keys, and they did in this case. And it turned out that's pretty important with these vehicles because the it's not an actual key, it's one of those electronic things. And to replace it is about a couple of $100. But to program it, you can program it yourself if you have two. But if you've lost one, you just have one. The programming costs, I think it's over $150. So it's quite expensive to get to make a duplicate. Did Carvana really contact you before the trial period was over? Yes, they did. Let me make sure everyone understands what we're talking about. You get 15, 20 minutes with the car before you accept it. And then you say, okay, I will accept it um, on condition that you like it during the trial period. That 15, 20 minutes is not the trial period. The trial period is about 7 days. Now, what Carvana says is, one might think, okay, Carvana would like you to forget how many days you have left, so maybe you'll inadvertently forget and accept the car when you really didn't mean to. Time sort of snuck up on you. But They didn't. They went out of their way to contact me first and say, hey, you realize the trial period will be up in, I think it was 24 hours, just to make sure that I did not inadvertently uh, wind up accepting the car when I didn't mean to. But in my case, no way. I was delighted with the vehicle and had no intention of not accepting it. Did you try other ways to buy your vehicle, or did you only use Carvana? I tried other ways, the traditional dealership path, and as many of you have probably found out already know, it can be very time intensive. And sometimes the pressure can be intense also. And I wound up wasting a lot of time. Um, there was one point I thought I had a deal set up, and then it turned out that the deal fell apart, and then you have to start. So I, I really appreciated having Carvana that I could go to and spend a lot of time online rather than spending lots of time just going to a dealership just to get in your vehicle, pick up your significant other so that you can look at it together, drive there, wait for vehicles to be pulled out, fill out information while you're there. It turns out it takes a whole lot of time. I did use other online services, but after a while I realized something very important. With Carvana, you don't really care. As a matter of fact, you don't even know where the vehicle is. I live in Florida. That vehicle could be in North Dakota, and it doesn't matter. Carvana would get it to me. Uh, in most cases, I dare say many people, if you live within 100 miles of a distribution center, Carvana will get the car to you free of charge. And of course, otherwise you can go to a center, and Carvana does allow some reimbursement for your travel. You would check with them for the exact details. So it's really great. You didn't have to worry about where it was, or if you found a car with some other online service and the car was, say, 300 miles away, you might have to go 300 miles to see it, and then you've sort of committed a whole lot of time. Uh, Maybe you wind up buying something that wasn't quite perfect because you spent so much time and travel getting to it. So yes, I did use other services, traditional dealership, other online service, but turned out Carvana was far better deal for me. What's the story about some kind of unexpected refund? Well, yes, when it was delivered, the Carvana representative explained, after a while, she explained that, look, this happens and this happens and this happens, so you, with your registration, so that would mean that you get a refund. And honestly, I couldn't understand exactly what was happening with the Florida registration as to why it would be a refund. It seemed to me that I was not entitled to a refund. But after explaining it to me, said, look, the bottom line is you will get, I think it was something like, somewhere between $150 or $200 back. And of course, I was delighted with that. And sure enough, after just a little while, I got that check. So, yeah, that's the story behind the refund, and I was delighted to have it and really appreciate Carvana's understanding and processing that got that for me. Would you buy from Carvana again? Oh, yes, I would. Absolutely. Carvana is just such a great way to buy an automobile. You you are able to minimize the time that you spend getting the vehicle. You're able to be in a low pressure situation. You've heard the expression sleep on it. Well, you can look at a vehicle and not only sleep on it, you can wait another day or come back 48 hours later or come back 5 minutes later. It just gives you complete flexibility. And all of the processes that I went through, from trade-in to setting up the credit for it, all of those processes worked as advertised. What advice would you give to anyone considering a Carvana purchase? I would say yes, you should strongly consider doing it with Carvana unless you need a vehicle immediately. Immediately meaning you need a vehicle by 3 o'clock this afternoon or something like that. Yes, Carvana is probably not the way to buy an automobile. Carvana typically they need a couple of days or things like that with the quickest processing. But if you need something right away, yeah, okay. That's one thing that a local dealership or a local used car place or something can offer that Carvana perhaps could not. But other than that, I would strongly recommend people looking into using Carvana for a car purchase. Here's a picture you see of the vending machine. This is the one in Tampa, and it was interesting when we walked in to photograph this. We walked in to let Carvana know what we were doing. It turned out the Carvana representative that brought the vehicle to my home a year ago was the person that was manning the store there or manning the vending machine there when we walked in. And immediately she recognized me. So that says something about the Carvana people. You know, it had been over a year, and her name there was Noel. Noel recognized me, even though it had been a year. As a matter of fact, she said, and how's your C-Max that you purchased? So some really good people there at Carvana, and a really good process they have there, processing, and the process and processing is just excellent. And I would recommend that to anyone. Consider it unless you just have to have a vehicle right away. Well, thank you very much for watching this vehicle. You can tell that I am very pleased about my purchase from Carvana. And once again, I highly recommend that you consider it for your next vehicle purchase. Thank you.